Hey folks, welcome back to the Transplant Helper again today. My name is Jim Murrell, and I must admit up front, this video right here may come across as being just a little bit negative. And if that's the way you feel about this video, at least toward the end of it, I'm probably happy about that. I do intend on this video sounding just slightly negative toward transplant, and particularly towards some of our transplant centers where it is deserved, because we do deserve the best and highest quality care, period, no matter what. Now, I've been a fanboy of UAB Hospital, particularly of UAB Transplant Center, for a long time. There's always been several reasons for that. Number one, I get the highest quality care, and that is I have always felt like the care that I've received at UAB, whether it be the 10 years post-transplant or really for that matter 6 years prior to that, immediately, and then all my life really, I've been a patient of UAB as I was born a congenital heart patient. So I've been around them all my life, and I've always felt like I've got absolutely the highest quality care available. And in that, oftentimes I kind of measure that by one, how the doctors interact with me. They spend a lot of time with me, they answer my questions, they sit down with me. I always feel like their diagnoses are those which are not only given by them, and I mean by that the individual doctor, but because it is a teaching hospital and an educational hospital, behind every doctor, there's an entire group of people who've kind of gone to the back rooms and discussed these things. So you're not just a patient of one physician, you're a patient of a whole group, okay? And a lot of times even a group of people have come in the room and done the examinations. That is, there's been the main doctors, there's been some fellows, some trainees, whatever you want to call that, to come in. And so you kind of get that double, triple, second, third, fourth, fifth opinion in one room. And I've always appreciated that. Secondarily, I've always appreciated the fact that I always got top priority, and that is if I had anything going on at all health-wise, and even if it wasn't related directly to my cardiac issues, being a heart transplant recipient, even if it wasn't related to that, if I gave them a call, immediately I got on the phone with my coordinator, with one of the nurses, or even some of the doctors sometimes would call me back within minutes, and I would get to talk to them personally, and they always were concerned about my issues. And if there was a need for me to come into clinic or to be hospitalized or whatever, that usually would happen within a few hours. As soon as I could get there, basically, they would say, just come on, we'll work you in, we'll get you here. And that's the way it always was. And then while I was in the office, anytime any procedures, any tests need to be done, doesn't matter what it was, even if it wasn't related to cardiology, again, top priority. I don't think for a long time when I needed anything. For example, I've had several MRIs. That's not related to my heart. It's related to some things going on in my brain and such as that, some migraines and dizzy spells. That's from way long ago. But they would actually just say, hey, walk down to the MRI unit. We've already called down there. They're going to get you in for an MRI. And I mean, I wouldn't be on the schedule even, but I would always get top priority in that. And I've had that happen so many times. I've rarely ever even had to leave and come back to another day. On top of that, at UAB Hospital, for me, results have always been nearly instant. Okay, you go in, you get blood work first thing in the morning, get x-rays, EKGs, echocardiograms. By about 11 or 12-ish, around lunchtime, you're in to see the doctor. All the results, they pull up on the screen. They already have the results, not only from some of the blood work, but a lot of the testing, because they work as a unit, meaning that this is a profession type building. They've got everything in-house, all the labs, all the testing, all the different things. And so they can pull that up on the system. They can actually look at those echoes, EKGs and such, watch the video back and whatever. So top-notch care. That's what I have always received at UAB Hospital. However, with that being said, things have changed over the past few years. Let me just say up front, things have definitely changed. And I've always tried to overlook it. I've tried to be positive about that, but things have changed. And I know exactly when it all began. It kind of began back in 2020, 2021, during the COVID lockdowns and all of that. And of course, at that period of time, I understand many hospitals, many healthcare systems were overwhelmed. Many of them were dealing with something that they had obviously never encountered before. Even my transplant team, they were extremely limited on what they could even do, because most appointments, if they weren't urgent, were basically canceled. They were only allowed to see a certain number of patients per day. That was because of what do we call that back then? I don't remember. I'm glad I don't remember, but where they had to separate people out, the social distancing and that sort of thing. There were Medications, there were sometimes some, like one time we had a shortage of some dyes that were used in MRIs and such as that. Sometimes some EKGs weren't available, heart caths, angiograms, so they had to cancel some of those. So there were a lot of times back then when you just weren't able to get what you needed. However, we've kind of come out of COVID. And I'm not telling you that no one ever today is diagnosed with COVID. That's obviously not right. I'm not telling you that there will never again be a epidemic/pandemic COVID outbreak event. I don't know that. I'm no predictor of that. But I am telling you this, that since that time, UAB Hospital and probably your transplant center or doctors, whatever you're dealing with, for some reason, it's not quite recovered from that. And I know why that is. Some of it is because they lost staffing. You know, when they weren't doing the business, the staff were let go. I can tell you several faces that are no longer at UAB, that are no longer with my transplant center because they lost their jobs. They were, they weren't on the front lines, and so therefore they were either asked to go on the front lines, and some of them did not choose to do that, or because they were laying in the background seeing, 5 patients a day instead of 65, they were cut. So things are understaffed, and they still are, and that's sad. But that's not what all this is about. It's like there is a barrier now that exists that did not exist before between myself and other patients that I've talked with, and I've talked to dozens of patients, between the patient themselves and the staffing at UAB. Priority, for example, is no longer there. I mean, yes, if I call my transplant center and I speak with my coordinator and I tell them I have a problem with my heart, I have no question at all that I'll be able to speak to her just like that. No question at all that they'd bring me in the clinic. But as far as that outside care of that, as far as the way they used to be, my general practitioner, as far as the way they used to be so good with scheduling and getting things done and getting things done quickly and getting results, most of that has gone away lately. Let me tell you a couple stories related to that. I went in for my annual checkup back in May. It was the late part of May. Matter of fact, I think it was May 22nd, so the day before my 10-year transplant anniversary. I went in for my annual checkup. And, of course, things were all up to par there as far as the way that was laid out. I received back months and months before my schedule for the day, which, like always, go in for blood work first thing, go up and get an x-ray on the next floor, go up to the next floor and get in line for an echo and an EKG, then immediately go over to the cath lab. That's just the way my day was laid out. So all of that was taken care of. I'm not complaining at all about that. That's the way it happened. But what was supposed to happen is that after I recovered from my cath, which I had a cath that was done in my groin area, so, there's a little bit of lying flat, a little bit of, monitoring for bleeding, such as that. After that was done, I'm carried back out to kind of recovery for that. There were a few issues, just small things, but a few issues, a few changes, let me call it that came up in my cath results. And I knew that. And I knew that because I was well aware and fully awake for the heart cath. And I heard what the doctors were saying. I saw how they were reacting and such as that. So like I always do, I speak with him during those angiogram caths, okay? And I had asked my doctor, I said, hey, what's going on? What are we looking at? And he said, well, we've got this and this, but I'll come talk to you about that in a little bit. Well, I was fully confident that he would. I go out into recovery and I lay there for an hour or 2 or 3 or whatever it was initially, and I've not seen, as we say in the South, hide nor hair of my doctor. I've not seen him, which I understand that. He's in the cath lab that day, so he's got other patients that came before me, other patients that are coming behind me, and he's busy. I get it. But in between, generally speaking, in between every catheter procedure that he does, like for example, if he done mine, he wouldn't come out with me right then. I would still be a little bit woozy from a little bit of anesthesia, things to make it easier. Not asleep, but you know what I'm talking about. And so he wouldn't come out then, but he would do the next patient generally, and then he would come out and follow up with me. That's what usually happens. That's what happened with everybody. And I would hear him coming in and out of that recovery area, and he'd be one patient behind like that. That worked out well, and he'd be talking with him. So expected that, but I didn't hear from him, and I didn't hear from him. And so I, asked my nurse that was caring for me there. I said, hey, have you seen the doctor? And I called him by name. I said, have you seen him? She said, yeah, he's in the back. He's running around here. I said, well, he said he was going to come out and talk to me. I hadn't heard from him yet. Can you check? She said, sure. So she goes away. She comes back. She said, he said he'd be by in a little bit. Again, there was a delay. And I'm not really complaining about the time frame, okay? Don't misunderstand. I'm not complaining about the time. I had all day, and I was happy to lay there and recover, okay? I've had some bleeding issues before in that area when I got up too quickly. I'm not worried about being there, but there was more delay. I didn't see him. So ended up, long story short, she sent for him twice, okay, after. So 3 times total she sent for him. Finally, he came out. He walked up to my bedside, and he was like, hey, Mr. Murrell, what's going on? And I said, well, you told me in the lab that you would come out and speak with me. Oh, yeah. It's fine. It's okay. It's nothing to worry about. And I said, well, in the cath lab, you kind of looked like maybe there was at least something to discuss. What are the results? And of course he told me, he said, well, there's, it's no big deal. I talk with you another time. I said, I would like to know now. I mean, I'm about to go home. They've already come and given me discharge papers. So he gave me a super brief, kind of quick, almost like he was a little annoyed that I had asked for him, which that had never, ever happened before. Everybody has a bad day. I get it. Hey, I understand that. I certainly do not want to take him away from a patient that's more urgent. But, he gave me a kind of a short, quick answer. And there, pretty quickly, he walked out of the little curtain area and he was gone. Well, this is on me, okay? This part I'm about to tell you is on my fault. They came for me, got me in the transport, or AKA wheelchair, which traditionally when they pick you up, they say, what do you have next? What do you need to do? And I said, well, I guess you can take me out to the parking deck. And so they had sent my driver, my dad, out to the parking deck to get the vehicle, and told him they would have me out in a minute. They did. I came home. I came all the way home. And I was a little bit sedated, so I'm taking full blame for this, if that's what you call credit. I was a little bit sedated, but I got all the way home, and I thought about it. I thought, you know what didn't happen? One, he really didn't answer my question. He really didn't give me any kind of results. He really didn't have anything positive nor negative to encourage or discourage me. But more importantly, he did not actually see me. I mean, he passed in the curtain for a minute after 3 requests, at least that I know about. Of course, you could say 4, given that he agreed before I ever left the lab he was coming, so that's on him. And then 3 more times we sent for him before he gets there, so maybe 3-4 times. He didn't give me anything. And what happened there is I did not go to my appointment. You see, after those procedures are done, typically what I do is go to my appointment. And I go and sit in the doctor's offices where he and others work, and I wait on them to come in, where they pull all those results up on the screen, and they go through the echoes, the EKGs, everything. All the results is in. I know it was. And even they review the cath. I didn't get that day. Why? Well, because I forgot about it and I left, right? Yes, that's it. That's exactly why. The thing that bothered me, though, was that nobody thought to stop me. Nobody called me later in the day and said, hey, you've missed a scheduled appointment. Nobody checked with me the next day, nor the next, 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 nor the next. And one of the things I left out on purpose that he said, I'm going to get with your coordinator and we're going to swap a few medications up on you, see how that'll work, and she'll be calling you. Well, of course, she didn't call. I'm not knocking her necessarily, but she didn't call. Never heard out of anybody. This is, what's today? Today is July the 11th. I'm recording the video, July the 11th. I've still not heard out of anybody. And I guess I just fell through the cracks. Is that a big deal? No, in some senses it's not a big deal. But in the other sense it is. And it is because I have been accustomed, maybe I'm spoiled, but I have been accustomed to extremely good care, immediate care, results in immediately, doctors who immediately thought and were thoughtful and caring enough to talk things out, to discuss things. And in this case, I've got a slight issue going on that could turn into a big issue eventually if I don't care for it. And I've got nothing out of them. I've heard nothing. And I get on the patient portal because everybody says, well, look on the patient portal. That patient portal tells me basically my appointments, when those are, tells me the medications I already take. It gives me the lab results I already know and can pull up. On the section that says results or summaries for visits or whatever, there's nothing. You read those, it says James Murrell came in that day. He had the heartbeat of this, and it doesn't say anything specific about the appointment. There's nothing there anywhere I can find about that heart cath, which is important to me. Nothing. As a matter of fact, the last thing written in that record that is official, basically, is really official, is when I had my aortic valve replaced 3.5, 4 years ago. That's the last thing listed. That's it. Friends, that is not the care that I have been getting for the last 10 years. But since COVID, things have trailed off. It started out with not being able to get appointments because they were understaffed. Again, I got that. Then it proceeded to strange appointment days. It proceeded to going in for an appointment where you thought it was a full-blown check-up everything one day, till now scheduling is so messed up till you have to come in one day to see the doctor and one day to get an echocardiogram, maybe come back next week for your blood work or whatever. Makes no sense. Yesterday, I go into my liver follow-up. It's my annual liver follow-up. I'm supposed to get I always want to call it echo, a sonogram of my belly where they look at my liver, my gallbladder, the veins and arteries leading in and out of that. That's an important thing. And after that, I go in and see the doctor, the liver specialist. I go in and see him. That's what I've always done. Get there yesterday, get the sonogram done. The lady says, "Have you got an appointment today?" I said, "Well, I'm supposed to, but I didn't see it on the portal." She looked into it. No, it's not on the portal. Go down and talk with your doctor. I go downstairs as soon as I walk up. The lady out front, she knows me anyway, but she said, "Hey, how are you?" I said, "Well, I'm here. I just got my sonogram done. I'm here potentially for an appointment, but I didn't see it on the portal." She said, "Oh, yeah. Well, there's been a problem with some scheduling, and so you don't have an appointment today." And she said, "Did you get blood work?" I said, "No, I didn't get blood work either. I didn't have time when I got here this morning. I'll run get it." And she said, "Well, hold on, let me check for the order." She looks in there. Oh, there's no order for blood work either. So you're not seeing the doctor, no order for blood work. So you've just gotten a sonogram done that attaches to nothing. And she said, "But when you come back in January, we'll be doing everything." And I thought to myself, so basically what we're doing is we're charging the insurance company for a sonogram that almost no one's going to look at, nobody cares about at this point, just randomly because we can. And all of my appointments have been rescheduled to an unknown date, which I found out then was January. Okay, I didn't know that before. And all without my consent, or all without my input at least. I don't have to give them permission, but I'd like to have some input. I always have. Just represented to me the care is not what it used to be. Now, has the staff changed? Yeah, there are different faces in there. There are some people I've never seen in my life. Every time I go now, there's some people I've never seen in my life. Before COVID, before all this, my team was consistent for probably, I would say 10 plus years. Again, I've been with them at least 16 on this last swing. I never saw turnover. Turnover's constant now. That's not necessarily their fault. But transplant patients like myself, like you, we deserve the best quality care we can get. So here's my question. It's kind of my survey. Have you noticed a fall off in your care? And I hope that most of you say, "No, you're crazy. My care is great." I hope it is. I hope it's better than it ever was. But I have. We're talking about a transplant center that has thousands and thousands of heart transplant recipients. I'm not transplant recipient number 5. I'm transplant recipient over 1,000 just for hearts. And in one hand, I understand that it can overwhelm them because they got a lot. But hey, they don't see everybody every week. They don't see everybody every month, every year. Some people go 3, 4, 5 years between visits. Some people require more follow-up than others. And I want them to give the best care to those who are brand new to this. But just leave my care alone. I mean by that, just be consistent. Just get me in on the schedule that we agreed to earlier. When I'm there, do what I need to do. If I need something else added to it, please try to give me priority like you used to. I'm spoiled. I am spoiled. But just try to treat everybody equally. And maybe they are. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe they are now treating everybody. Maybe I was getting the king's treatment before. I wouldn't doubt that. Maybe I'm just disappointed. But I would love to know about your care. Have you noticed any changes? Has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Is it getting more or less difficult to contact your transplant center? More or less difficult to get those appointments? More or less difficult to get results from those appointments? Are there things that you would like to know more about, but now you don't get the answers you once did? Are there any changes? Again, I hope it's 2 thumbs up and 5 stars. You're doing great. In my case, I don't feel like I am. And I don't mean this video to bash anybody. I'm really sharing it with you. Honestly, I hope UAB never sees this. If I need to tell them something like this, I'll be happy to fill out a survey or go in and sit down with someone. But I just thought I had to say that. Hope you're all doing well. Until we see each other again, stay stronger, my friend.